The chances of becoming infected by COVID fell sharply after a first dose of the AstraZeneca, the Pfizer vaccine, and the Moderna vaccine have been deployed. And this is all done by UK studies. That's right. The coronavirus, initially the virus that we thought was here to stay is actually going away. It's finally time. It's about that time where it is going away. I mean, it's good news right there. And we'll be talking about this, what is happening right now in the UK, especially in the UK, what is happening when it comes to the vaccine. But with that, before that, though, we got to show you what we are at, what we are, what we represent right here on Relaks Radio. So check this out. That's right. That was what we are. If you want to, make sure if you want to download our app, all you got to do is simply visit the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store to carry us all day, every day. You got to keep that information fresh, and we're going to keep all the way, talking about what is happening around you and around in the UK. And also, don't forget, if you have anything you want to say or you want to hit us up and you want to let us know what your thoughts are on the matters, well, you can always call us up or message us on WhatsApp. It is 07852-473-473. That's right. This is Relaks Radio with me, Nick, keeping you guys company on a Real Talk. And now we're getting back to the topic at hand. We're talking about how the COVID infections in the country has dramatically dropped ever since the vaccine was introduced. A lot of these vaccines were introduced. So the vaccines worked as well in the over 75s and those with, a lot of these underlying conditions, people who have issues and who are vulnerable, and, pregnant people even. So a lot of these people who are getting the vaccine now are being more protected. They're being more armed. And the Office for National Statistics, the ONS, and the University of Oxford's research also found a strong antibody response in all age groups from either jab. So yeah, that's right. The Moderna vaccine and the Pfizer vaccine and the AstraZeneca vaccine, these are all the vaccines that we are using right now. So right now we are all armed and our antibodies are working at their highest, at the peak, at the zenith of their, immune response. And it's great to see, what is going on. So everyone showed some response to both of these vaccines, they said. So yeah, the research contained in 2 studies, which have not yet been peer reviewed or published, is based on virus tests from 370,000 people in the general UK population, and one of the largest up to date. So yeah, what they did is essentially they took like a big, statistic, a big pool of people, a basic model sample of people, and checked, and then they saw, okay, this is how the virus is working, and this is how, how many people are being cured and are being protected by this vaccine. And it provides, further real evidence that the vaccine being used in the UK to protect against the COVID-19 virus is effective at protecting people against coronavirus infections and, being able to transmit these infections. So that is, just another link that it is showing. So in the first study, people who have been vaccinated with a single dose of either the Oxford AstraZeneca or the Pfizer biotech vaccines were 65% less likely to get a new COVID infection. So yeah, 3 weeks rather after their jab given between December 2020 and early April 2021, infections with symptoms fell by 74%. That is 74%. That is a huge margin when it comes to that. I mean, the vaccine is actually doing its work, while infections with no reported symptoms fell by 57%. So yeah, those who had received a second vaccine dose of Pfizer were 90% less likely to be infected. And the same calculation could not be made, of the AstraZeneca, because too few people in the study have received a second dose as its rollout started later. So yeah, the study, show both vaccines were effective against the Kent variant, that is the UK variant right now, and which is circulating, at that time. And Dr. Cohen Powells, the senior researcher in the University of Oxford's Nuffield Department of Population Health, said that the data backed up the decision to extend the gap between these doses. So yeah, the protection, you get from these new infections gained from a single dose supports the decision to extend the time between the first and the second doses to 12 weeks to maximize the initial vaccination coverage. So initially, this window, the wider the window essentially is 12 weeks is the perfect window, the perfect gap, to be getting your doses, the first dose and then the second dose on top of that. So yeah, that's just, what is going on. And these antibodies, essentially the second study, in nearly 46,000 adults, who had been vaccinated with one dose found strong antibody responses, a sign that the vaccines are stimulating the body's defense system to protect against the virus in all the age groups. So yeah, these antibody responses were broadly sustained out to 10 weeks afterwards. So yeah, that's a crazy improvement right there. I mean, what essentially the vaccine is doing is it's beating the link between the numbers of infections, the numbers of people getting infected, the number of cases in the UK, and reducing the transmissibility as well. So it's two birds with one stone. This vaccine, this is what the vaccine is doing, especially coupled with with the taking the safety precautions that we are doing right now, and with the easing of the lockdown and people still maintaining that social distancing. I mean, it just goes to show the vaccine is doing its work. It's even becoming more effective because of that. And so although these new antibody levels rose more slowly after the second dose, so a single dose of AstraZeneca, they dropped more quickly after one Pfizer dose, particularly in the older age group. So yeah, there was a better response in younger adults compared with older adults over 60s with both jabs. But after 2 doses of Pfizer, antibody levels were high across all the ages. This is what the study is, reporting, and the study is saying that this is what is going on. People who take the Pfizer, 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine antibodies, are more better equipped. I feel that's what they're trying to say. And one finding actually, surprised researchers was the amount by which the immune response shot up in the over 80s after a second dose, far more than those in the younger age groups. So yeah, the people who got their second doses, the adults who got their second doses, the people who were over the age of 80s and above who got their second doses, notice a more noticeable improvement, a more noticeable higher immune response in comparison to the people who have not, to the younger generation in comparison. So yeah, all these findings, highlight the difference of people getting their second vaccine dose for increased protection. And it's still not clear though what the buildup of these antibodies after a COVID vaccine actually means. So Professor Sarah Walker, chief investigator on the studies from the University of Oxford, said, "We don't know exactly how much of an antibody response and for how long is needed to protect people against getting COVID-19. And in the long term, over the next year, well, information from surveys should help us to understand and answer these questions that is coming over our minds." Yeah, both studies, are based on data from the COVID-19 infection survey and a partnership between the University of Oxford, the ONS, and the government and the Department for Health and Social Care. So yeah, that is just, another thing that is going on. And these are all the bodies that were involved in these 2 studies. And, with what is actually, I'm glad to say that this is going as is planned, as Boris Johnson made a plan and he said, okay, this is how the roadmap is supposed to work. But then, of course, there is a little bit of a hitch, as we go along the way. And right now, there's this the Indian variant right now. And there's been a lot of, in case you guys are wondering, there's been a lot of rising cases also in India because of this. And what they're facing is the third wave of coronavirus infection. And it is crazy and it's going more wild. So right now, the India, arrivals begin in UK hotel quarantine. So the first people to arrive in the UK from India since the country was placed on the red list travel. So yeah, have entered these hotel quarantines, and the people, essentially who come from these countries right now are going to be stuck in quarantine for quite some time because of the red listing. So yeah, because of the rising cases in India, India has been officially branded as a red list flight travel zone. So most of the people can travel from India to the UK. So the British and Irish nationals and all those with residency rights must isolate in approved accommodation for 10 days after rules changed overnight. So India has seen a third wave rather, with shortages of medical oxygen, leaving some patients untreated. I mean, that is just so unfortunate right now for the people and the community of India. So some British Asians have spoken of the trauma of witnessing this India surge. And, people say that they've seen how they've lost they've seen like relatives and friends being lost in India in the past week, for most of them due to the COVID virus. So yeah, that's just crazy, with what is going on. And it is just, a lot of these passengers who did come from India, who came to the UK, became one of the, they landed in India, in the UK from India, after ever since the first red list changed, and were being escorted to the government approved hotels at London's Heathrow Airport on Friday afternoon. So yeah, this is, well, a bunch of these guys came down from India, and they were stuck in these quarantines, so they're not going to be leaving anytime soon because of that, because right now the government is not quite sure what the total effects of the virus, the Indian variant virus, will work in the country, whether our vaccines will even be effective to it. So that is one of the reasons why they are in the red list right now. Hopefully, the situation will change and alleviate as time goes by, but we can never know. For now, though, this is a smart move what the country is doing, keeping it on a red list and making sure people from the other countries who are from these red list zones are not traveling into the UK to avoid another surge of infections. But hey, with that being said, though, it is about that time of the day for me to head on out of here. And I've said it all. I've said enough. I've said more. And you guys can always catch me again on Real Talk again on Monday, same time, same place, same frequency. But until then, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. And with that, my name is Nick, and I'm out of here.